Hi, Bonette. My first impressions of Brooks seem to be the best way to sum up my time here. I'd been to a couple other schools, and they put on a fantastic display of buildings, academia, and extremely reserved individual kids. Brooks was nothing like that. It was freezing and raining, and things just were not working out. My tour guide that day, a hockey player, Danny Philbrick, slept straight through my 8:30 tour and sent me a ridiculous test about his busy schedule that morning that supposedly came out of nowhere. So my replacement tour guide was the hockey manager at the time, Nate Webb. Webb had never given a tour before and showed up in a Boston Bruins shirt with gym shorts on a formal academic dress day, and I'm fairly sure he was not showered that morning. Our tour kicked off with me being extremely curious, and I asked questions about the school, the people, academics, and all the stuff that I believed to be important before coming here. Nate didn't give me any reasonable answers. So how was the food at Brooks? Bad. Oh, sweet. Although, after our conversation got going a little, I asked to see a dorm. He had completely forgotten the key card needed to get into Chase, but I was still curious. So he said, well, I guess we could see Blake. So we meandered over to my future home, and as he walked up to the dorm, he turned and said, security is tight here, and ripped the door open. Which I didn't actually know was a normal thing until meeting Nico Pastore. We walked around and saw some rooms, and we started talking inside one of the rooms. The room was a mess, filled with clothes and trash everywhere. Then, out of nowhere, I heard probably the most aggressive, grumpy statement from an on-the-ground mattress with a wolf blanket covering it. What the hell are you doing in my room? This is my first encounter with Owen Boric. And that wasn't even the end to my Brooks beginning. My revisit day was hilarious. It was a normal spring day at Brooks. It was still raining heavily, and there was way more mud on campus than there was grass. But the whole day was highlighted by this class I went to. It was an American history class, and they had a debate that day. Raw aggression is probably the best way to describe that class. It was a U.S. history class having an argument about what technology supported the winning of the Civil War. Sounds academic, right? No. There were no facts being thrown around, just malicious personal attacks on the other members of the class. Jules was screaming at Pat McCoy, who was then screaming at Patty Mangan, who sat there in complete silence for the 50-minute block. No one really talked to me besides the late, great Tyler Gallant, who spent the whole class giving me the vibes on campus. But the best part was Hugo Christian showing up 40 minutes late to this 50-minute block. To say that Brooks didn't display the typical boarding school experience was an understatement. But I saw this school and its students as real. It was by no means a perfect day, but I got to see real students. So I came into Brooks. I knew that this group of talented high school students were in fact human. What I didn't know about this community was all the memories and lessons that I would learn during my time here. I learned that full baseball games can be played in the narrow hallways of Whitney. I learned that I can wake up at 3 a.m. to Hugo banging on Doc Young's door going, Doc Young, give me my knife back. And did you know that there are actually infinite number of ways to cook chicken, including, but not limited to, Korean chicken, baked BBQ chicken, braised chicken, glazed BBQ chicken, fried chicken, grilled BBQ chicken, chicken parmesan, Mediterranean marinated chicken, grilled chicken, popcorn chicken, chicken fingers, chicken wings, basil and lemon chicken, General Tso's chicken, creamy chicken and mushroom sauce, jerk chicken, butter chicken, spicy shredded chicken, chicken pot pie, and the beloved quick chick. Thank you, Mr. G. To be fair, there are 15 more that I have, but I'll spare you the time. So as I spent more time on campus, I began to learn that all kinds of lessons, like how that even generators don't provide electricity and that doors take months to fix. But in all seriousness, I learned that Brooks's lessons don't come from the classroom. It's the people around you. In this chapel right now, they'll have the greatest effect on your life. If you could pronounce my name correctly and have spent more than an hour talking to me, you know that I'm not a huge fan of superficial relationships. If you're in my winter term, you know what I'm talking about. During my winter term, I was asking people deep questions. I asked them to look at things in their lives, sports, people, or just general activities, and try to figure out what the importance of all that was. Of course, I don't really know how much about anything, but I think it's important to be aware of how the things around you actually affect you. How would we ever know that smile means more to you than just a smile? How would you ever realize that Charlie Alcorn's moans in the gym are probably a higher pitch than you're expecting and are actually giving you just a glimpse of someone pushing past crappy normal by giving you a flare of individuality? Everyone has their own stories and difficulties, and we're all freaking weird. And I know this because I've seen weird things. I've seen Owen Borick have a romantic situation with a calzone. I've seen Kate Wilson fall so aggressively onto her back that it completely captured the room and forced everyone to laugh with her because she was laughing the hardest. I've seen Colin Volosian dance with so much raw intensity that I got a little scared. And I've seen Senora Miller struggle with her computer for upwards of 10 minutes just to start a film. And yet, these quirks and unique moments stratify us. It's not fun to be like everyone else. And if you can realize that, then you'll be able to live with a little bit more freedom. We're all learning every day, and I can tell you for free it's not in math class or when studying for the SAT. We aren't learning English in school, a language we already know, so that we can go off and write books and dissect Harper Lee. So many times we get mistaken by asking, why the hell do we need calculus? For your information, you don't need calculus. And so as we get caught in this constant flurry of information, we rarely see the underlying theme of education, the question. Each and every class you've ever taken has been to answer a question. I'm sure half of you are thinking, okay, cool, why the hell is he speaking? We don't really care, why is your name pronounced like a handbag? So here's the point. In our rebellious teenage angst, we are most likely missing the point of everything. We aren't in school to answer its questions. We are at school and at Brooks to create our questions. What kind of person do I want to be? What makes me the happiest? How much finesse does the finesse kid have? What is finesse? How does he quantify that? And I can tell you for free that you won't have an opportunity like Brooks again in your life. You will never have faculty care about you like they do now. You will never be surrounded by individuals as diverse and unique, and you definitely won't have the ability to develop with this much support again. Brooks can be complained about all day, but just for a minute, shut up. Realize that you have the ability to become an incredible athlete, or a great student, or a 19-year-old high school senior. Thank you, Nenny. You are surrounded by a surplus of teachers and coaches willing to support your every passion. You have the facilities that most of the world can't fathom. Be conscious, because to not take advantage of each and everything that we are offered here is an insult to the people who wish they had this. And if you're sitting back thinking about how this place sucks and how it's so hard to go to a speaker, realize that Brooks is malleable. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to engage, and engage passionately, because if Brooks can develop into a community where we're all interested in each other beyond friend groups and sports teams, we'll have that many more teachers. The most rewarding moment I've ever had at Brooks came by seeing that my passion affected the people around me. Chuck Paris told me once that seeing me do tedious Spanish homework every single night helped me to do his own work, and that it was motivating. That feeling is something I'll have forever. We are already a group of passionate individuals, and to be aware and to learn from them is the single most important thing you'll do here. Say what you might about the Colt boys soccer team, but Andrew Stevens will hold on to that family forever. Nothing in the world can stop Owen Bohr from being a better athlete. No one will ever sing as vigorously as Mr. Hesse. Liam Carey will love the New York Rangers until the day he dies. And Coach McVay cares more about the character of his players than anyone. I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but whenever I go to a recital or a play or anything that I'm not involved with, I immediately understand that those people are passionate and happy in that moment. And every time I feel the same way. Man, I wish I could have done that. But for some reason, the next day, I don't have the same drive to branch out. And I'm going to show you a quick video explaining something that I think is hindering us from taking that step.
Skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear. I gotta stand up. You go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. And you go home by yourself, you're like, Right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane and you can't figure out why you would do that. So you get there and then you have the safety brief. And you're standing there and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is well, why the hell, what could happen? So you get onto the airplane and you're sitting there and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger, trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet and somebody opens the door. And in that moment, you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Terror, 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 terror. And then people start going out of the airplane. And the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. They say, on 3. 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. The lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of fear. That was my experience with skydiving and fear.
All right.
So, much like Will Smith says, at the point of maximum danger, there's minimum fear. And that is relatable all across campus. No one wants to go to a school speaker until you show up and commit. A lot of people don't want to go to chapel and end up hearing something interesting. A lot of people don't want to go to prom until they realize that it doesn't suck. As individuals in this setting, Brooks, we are so trapped by fear of not being good or the possibility of embarrassment in front of our community that we miss out on things that would be the most rewarding experiences. I was terrified that no one was going to laugh at Good Looks Brooks. I was terrified that I was going to get on stage today and just throw up or break a laptop. But I trust that if I engage, it will be rewarding. And I think that in all those cases and in most things, you can't just go to prom, you've got to start dancing. Because to find passion, you have to engage passionately. Merely superficial attempts don't allow you to form an opinion of the activity. The saying, don't knock it until you try it, is just wrong. Try it doesn't cut it. You have to try it, whatever it may be, with passion, or it will never return that passion back to you. I came to Brooks expecting a good hockey team, bad food, and Hugo showing up with 10 minutes remaining in the class. I didn't get anything that I expected. The boys' hockey team was very much struggled. The food actually trended upward, and Hugo showed up all 50 minutes late to his 50-minute class. But what I got was a plethora of individuals in a community that was proud of other people's success. What I got was incredible lessons from a group of friends I will know for the rest of my life. Lessons like generosity, work ethic, kindness, and fortitude. If you're actively aware, you're going to learn things that will surprise you, that will change you, and that will make you the person you want to be. The only way to fail is to sit and watch the clock tick, and to look back and say you didn't do enough. I'm only saying this because I came from a school where artists were made fun of, where students were made fun of because of good grades, and where athletes could win awards and receive less support than jealousy. You have every opportunity that you could ever ask for because you're here right now, surrounded by people that want you to succeed. Don't be trapped by comfort, because the hardest part is accepting that the most rewarding activities are the ones that cause you to fear. So when that green light comes on, I say jump at 1. Ask questions until you know who you want to be, and then let Brooks support you until your question is answered. Learn from the fervent individuals around you, and drive to find your own passion. Grow and grow and grow until you are teaching your peers and have made this revamped farm we call Brooks a place that cultivates students for life. Because even if you fall on your face, you're still moving forward. Thank you.